Ladies and gentlemen, we want you to stand and we want you to make some noise.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go racing here at Knoxville.
Only the best go 3 abreast.
It is show time at Williams Grove Speedway.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here at Eldora Speedway, it's showtime!
You got them for a rep. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
It's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy because, ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime!
Set to do battle for 30 laps. The green flag is waving.
All right, so can you imagine being the man for 30 years? I mean, seriously. Well, that's what we're going to... Hey, this is a Wing Nation podcast. Okay, Erin, Evernham, and Steve Post. We're going to talk to Byron Reed, okay? When you roll into Western Ohio, you better pack your lunch because that black number 5 is going to be tough to handle.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, how many championships? I will have to ask him.
Yeah. And 40 wins at Attica, umpteen million zillion wins at Fremont. Okay. And he just keeps doing it. And I didn't realize it until I saw he won Attica this past weekend, and I saw he kicked off his 30th year of racing. And then I'm thinking, I've not been the man at anything I've ever done for 30 minutes. Okay. And this guy, for 30 years, everybody's got the stopwatch on your car.
It's impressive.
It's just, he's that good. And I can't wait. We love, and oh, by the way, he's a really good guy,
I was
too.
going to say that.
Great family, great everything. He's just a good guy. So we are going to talk to Byron Reed. Now, the All-Stars, the Ollie's Bargain Outlet All-Stars are rolling into Attica this weekend, so everybody is going to have to deal with a black number 5 car. So it's always great to talk to Byron Reed. One of the other things that's happening this weekend, the World of Outlaws are off.
Yeah.
Off. What? It saves them from getting rained out. I'll give them that.
Yeah,
it'll save them.
True.
But with the
Very
Easter
true.
weekend and the way the schedule and the weekends and the calendar fell, the World of Outlaws are off this weekend.
It's kind of neat to see them on the
I
weekend.
don't have a problem. I know there's some of the teams that are pretty happy to be catching their breath. It's not like they've been just flogging the racetracks, but I'm telling you, living on the road and living on the road in rainouts is just bad. So I am fairly certain they kick off next week to go back to Missouri. So, the sides, Jason's back home there in Missouri. I wouldn't be surprised if the Pennsylvania guys, I don't know if Brent Marks and Shark Racing went back home, but you've got that amount of time.
Well, that Western swing is so difficult. I mean, it's great racing, great tracks, but it's so difficult on the teams. They're so far from their shops.
Barry Jackson's back there. He's already got 3 new cars designed. Because there's no rest in that guy. So World of Outlaws are off. So we've got some great stuff. We got some season openers. We'll talk about that. And again, we're going to talk to Byron Reed. It was the Speed Palace. It was Port Royal Speedway. It was the Keith Kaufman Classic. The Ollie's Bargain Outlet All-Star Circuit of Champions. Lance Deweese, Bird Dog, and Danny Dietrich on the next to last lap, coming to the white flag. Speed Shift TV, Blake Anderson with the call. It's our Dryden Diesel All Death-Defying Move of the Week.
And now for the Dryden Death-Defying Move of the Week, where one driver simply amazes us with their on-track moves.
Deweese to the high side, it's a heavyweight title bout off of turn number 4, white flag flying, Lance Deweese to the lead at the white flag. The crowd goes crazy.
That death-defying move was brought to you by Dryden Diesel All Death, the official death of the World of Outlaws and wheelmen everywhere. Visit Dryden.com for more information.
Sage Fruit is a high-quality grower, packer, and shipper of Washington State apples, pears, and cherries. Sage Fruit believes in sprint car racing as a proud sponsor of sprint cars for the past 16 years and a partner of Wing Nation for the past 4 years. We love sprint car racing, and we're there for our sprint car fans. Sage Fruit works hard to deliver an exceptional eating experience. We value our relationship with sprint car fans and appreciate your continued support of Sage Fruit. Ask for Sage Fruit at your local grocer.
Instilled with Dryden's heritage of performance, Dryden Diesel All Def is built for the demands of today's diesel engines. Dryden Diesel All Def is perfect for owners and operators of on-road and off-road diesel trucks and cars that now require diesel exhaust fluid. Dryden, official motor oil and official diesel exhaust fluid of the World of Outlaws and wheelmen everywhere. And as always, American owned and operated. Visit Dryden.com for more information.
Red Brand Fence. Safe, durable, dependable, and long-lasting. Whether it's keeping horses, cattle, and livestock in or stopping predators, Red Brand is the best fence money can buy. Each inch of the woven wire is inspected for top quality before it's crowned with the trademark Red Top Wire. Red Brand Fence, the most trusted name in agriculture, residential, and commercial fence for over a century. For more information, go to redbrand.com.
This is the Wing Nation Podcast. Back to Steve Post and Erin Evernham.
Welcome back. It is the Wing Nation Podcast. We are having a ball, and we're just going to talk to a rock star. That's all I can say about it. We talked about him a little bit during the opening segment of the show, but let's bring him on the hotline. Drives that black number 5 car. Picked up the win Friday night at Attica. Back at it again for his 30th season. Byron Reed's on the line. Hello, Byron. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
How's it good? Going. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's great to catch up with you. Congratulations! Congratulations on the win. When you start a season, it's got to be great to get to get a win done early.
It definitely is. You go through the off season and you hear about this different guys pairing up and all that, and think and all the young guys coming on, and you wonder can I still compete? Can I still do it at a pretty high level? And I do. I doubt myself a lot, and so when you can open the season up with a win, it definitely is good for confidence, because I believe confidence in our sport has a lot to do with your success.
Byron, elaborate a little bit more on that. For me, I've always thought of Western Ohio. I think of Byron Reed. You've got championships. I don't even know how many at this point. 40 wins at Attica. Talk about the mentality of a driver and how you still doubt yourself after all that success.
I don't know. It's just hard to explain. Like I'm 46 years old now, and believe it or not, I've always felt very good and all that health-wise. And this year, I don't know, for the first time, I'm starting to feel a little old. My back's been really sore, and my hand hurts, and so you think, am I getting, is this? That's why, am I getting beyond my prime health-wise? And all that's why when you look back and you look at how good Steve Kinzer was all these years, and Sammy still is, you think those guys, they're superhuman, because I feel like I'm breaking down and I'm only 46. I think those guys were just still in the height of their prime at that age.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. How tough is it, and this is a 30-year veteran or a young racer, to the first night of the season knocking the rust off? What's that like?
Well, for me, luckily, Attica, it's probably my most comfortable track to run of any track I ever run, and it really is second nature. And I actually purposely, I always have a deal where I usually I have one older car and I put one new car together, and I always start the year off with my older car, just because I'm totally comfortable with the car and how everything's, everything in the cockpit's exactly where I want it and all that. So I always try to make things as comfortable as possible for that first race. So, whatever rust I have, I'm not also fighting, new car problems.
Byron, we talked to Lance DeWeese on Tuesday, earlier this week, about what it's like to not be running Florida, and everyone else is, got some races under them. Do you follow along on Dirt Vision or, Speed Shift? How do you prepare for the season?
I keep track of the results. I don't necessarily watch the whole races on the Dirt Vision and that, but I'll obviously check all the highlights and that. I talk to some different guys that are kind of, in the racing game a little more seriously than I am, just to kind of keep my ear to the ground on what's working for people right now. And so that's basically just how I do it. But like I've told you guys in the past, I've slowed down a lot from what I used to do. So it's I still keep track of it, but not like I used to.
Byron, when we look at what's going on with Attica and Fremont, and we've talked about this at length this spring, And to bring everyone up to speed, it used to be back in the old days, 5 or 6 years ago, you had the Fast Series, Fremont Attica Sprint Tour, and it was the 2 tracks, and there was a lot of extra money around. The Fast Series has evolved into something different now, where it is rotating around and moving more, and the irony of it is the A in the Fast stands for Attica, and I don't even think Attica has a fast race this year. But enter some new guys, or the tracks have put together the Attica Fast Championship Series. How nice is that to have your 2 tracks working so well together and getting some extra money for you guys as you race back and forth between the 2 speedways?
Right. It's a great thing for the local guys, and having that extra money. It really, we all know this isn't for the most part, it's not a sport where you're going to make much at all of any money, but I really have to say that, in the last 5 years, having the Fast and all that, and everybody having a pretty decent point fund, I mean, it definitely makes a difference at the end of the year with what your budget looks like. I mean, it definitely helps. It makes a dent in things, so it is very appreciative. We're very appreciative of Attica and Fremont keeping it going, and really, there's nothing wrong with what the Fast people want to do. I mean, that's great too. I mean, it appears that there's definitely some guys that are liking that, a little bit of a small, lower scale traveling series that a guy can still work a job and still want to travel a little bit. Just in my point in my career, that's not my thing, but I definitely see where it's a benefit to some people.
Byron, was there ever a time in your career that you really wanted to go on the road, do the outlaw thing, the all-star thing, or have you always been content working with the family business and racing close to home?
Well, that's what a lot of people don't realize. I ran the full All-Star Series 2 years in 1993 and 94, I believe. I think I finished 4th the 1 year. So I did travel. I raced, my most I ever raced was 76 times. So I've been all over the Midwest in my younger days, but just from about 2003, I would say on, we've backed it way down and just stuck closer to home. But in my younger days, I did travel a lot, and I don't know, I can't. I will have to. I will say it. When I was 17, 18 years old, I definitely thought about wanting to be a race car driver for a living, but just never cards. Things just didn't quite work out that way, but I'm happy with what we've been able to do.
Byron, a couple of years ago, you went on a trip to Knoxville, Iowa. You went out there and you admitted and acknowledged that, while you wanted to run good out there, you knew that you were just not geared up and ready to go. But one of the reasons you wanted to do it was so that your family could witness Knoxville. They could see you racing at Knoxville and all of that. I go through all of this to put the emphasis you have on family. Is there, and I know are the kids interested in the racing? Is there anything there? I know Kemena's kids are running karts and everything like that, or are your kids and family into other things as well?
Well, I have 2 boys, and one, they're both great kids, but one is definitely not interested. He's a great kid, but he's got other interests. He'll go watch me race, but when I'm not racing, he usually sits in the trailer and reads a book or something.
Yeah.
But my older son, he actually really does enjoy racing, but he just doesn't. He's not interested in driving, and that's totally fine with me. I would definitely have supported them if they would have wanted to, but it's definitely doesn't disappoint me that they don't want to race.
Cool. Yeah, being a parent myself now, I can understand that you might have a sense of relief that they don't want to race.
Right.
Byron, this weekend the All-Stars come into Attica. Is there anything you do to prepare differently, or is it just a regular night for you and you're so comfortable with your setups and your home tracks?
It's pretty much a regular night. I mean, obviously we make sure we have the freshest stuff, which it's all pretty fresh right now, but we double check everything a little bit better. We make sure we've got all pretty much new tires to qualify and run a lot of the races with, and but for the most part it's still just another night, and you just gotta it's always there'll probably be, I would say there'll be 50, 60 cars there, but the way this new format works out, you're basically, you only got to worry about the 8 or 10 guys in your group, and you just got to look at it. You can't get overwhelmed with, oh my God, all these 60 cars. You just got to worry about the 8 or 10 guys you're qualifying against, and try to put that good lap down, because if you start behind everybody, it's going to make for a long night.
Yeah, no doubt. That format is interesting, and that's fascinating. And when I think about it, yeah, you have your group as really who you're competing with, even though there's so many cars and the pits are full. Well, Byron, it is always a pleasure to chat with you. I'm glad we caught up with you. I'm glad you picked up a win to kick off the season here. I know we'll be chatting with you throughout the season, but thanks for the time, and we wish you the best this weekend and on throughout the year.
All right, thank you, and I appreciate all you guys do for the sport.
There we go. That is Byron Reed joining us. I am telling you, just what a class guy.
Yeah.
Just very level-headed, very understands it. I've always enjoyed chatting with him.
Yeah.
And enjoyed it today. He's cool, and they'll be having the stopwatch on that black number 5. They'll be watching Race Monitor to see where that black number 5 is starting in the first hot lap at Attica this weekend. So I love it. I really do. The Ollie's Bargain Outlet All-Star Circuit of Champions, the Spring Nationals at Attica this weekend. IRA bumper-to-bumper sprints are up at Beaver Dam. Hey, we have a couple, let me get through this. Weekend, Williams Grove, Knoxville, hopefully they get that started. Port Royal, Lincoln Speedway, St. Francis County. I have a couple season openers, and I want to highlight a couple season openers here. Lernerville is kicking it off. And Lernerville, to me, is one of the most fascinating places because most tracks have your premier division.
Yeah.
And a support division or 2 or 3, or if you're in the South, 17. That's that, and that is a shot at the tracks that have too many support divisions. I don't like that.
Hint, hint.
Yes, hint, hint. 17 was an exaggeration, but a minor exaggeration from some of you all. Okay? Now back to Lernerville. They have sprint cars, they have late models, and they have big block modifieds. Yeah. And then they do have pro stocks. It's called the Fab Four. But I don't know that there's a place in the country that you have 3 premier divisions every Friday night. And I just think it's fascinating. And it's really, really cool. And I got to go investigate, and I'm working on a plan.
Have you been to Lernerville?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's a good one.
Next year at this time, I hope I'm talking about what a good night. Not even that. A little bit sooner than that. I'm working on my summer schedule, and Lernerville's the number 1 on my bucket list. I got to get to this year. It really is. Coming up on July 23rd, the Don Martin Memorial Silver Cup for the World of Outlaws. And September 28th, the Commonwealth Clash for the World of Outlaws. So those of you in Western Pennsylvania, you are blessed to have a track like Lernerville, and so get out there and support them, and take your friends. Take your friends to the races. We had one of our tweets this week on our Tweet Your Seats. We had, I think it was Attica. I think it was. One guy said, I brought a bunch of friends that had never been to a sprint car race before. And then we had another tweet from a guy that says, the first time I've ever been to Attica. So
good stuff.
Take your buddies out to Lernerville or your local track. Now, on the other side of the country, Skagit opens up. Now, we all love Steve Beitler.
Yes.
I mean, this is just the weekly 360 racing, which is the norm out there. Coming up on June 20th to 22nd, the Jim Raper Memorial Dirt Cup, the ASCS National Tour rolls in. I went to that race last year, folks. If you're in Washington and you're not going to Skagit Speedway, shame on you, because I feel bad for you because you're missing great racing. I mean, it's just what are you watching TV? I mean, for Pete's sake, you can go watch great racing on this great dirt track. So, I mean, if you're sitting around doing nothing, you're wasting your time because the racing is so good there. And then in August, the 30th to 31st, I think that's Labor Day weekend, World of Outlaws roll in there. Well, they'll be battening down the hatches for that one. So Skagit Speedway, another season opener this week. Yeah. I love, there's nothing, season opening is just phenomenal. Yeah. It's just a great time. So I hope Mother Nature cooperates with all these season openers and everyone just has a good time, and take a kid to the racetrack. That's what you need to do, too. So, and to follow along with all of it this weekend, you can go to wingnation.com, and we have the broadcast calendar. So, yes, we have that. Now, when we look at the HRP Racing upcoming shows, coming up this weekend on the MAV TV show presented by Sage Fruit is Darren Pittman. So Darren Pittman joins us. How about that?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Great year.
Yes, Darren Pittman is rolling. So great stuff. Hey, we appreciate you joining us here for our Wing Nation podcast. Thanks to Byron Reed for joining us here today as well.
This has been the Wing Nation podcast. Find Wing Nation on wingnation.com, Facebook, YouTube, or your favorite podcast provider. The Wing Nation Podcast is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.